School trips always feel safe. That's part of the illusion. You're surrounded by classmates, teachers, constantly counting heads. Someone is always laughing. Someone is always talking. There's noise, movement, life. Nothing feels threatening when you're in a group. You tell yourself that bad things don't happen in broad daylight. Not when adults are nearby. Not when you're just a few meters away from your friends. But sometimes, it only takes a few minutes. Just one small decision. One moment when you think, I'll be right back. One step away from everyone else. And that's enough. These are 3 true stories of people who went on completely ordinary school trips and came back different. Not injured, not missing, but different. They still remember every second, every sound, every feeling in their chest when they realized something wasn't right. It happened when I was in 9th grade. Our class went on a field trip to a mountain nature reserve. Before we even left the bus, the teachers repeated the rules like a broken record. Stay with the group. Don't wander off. Don't go into the forest alone. If you need anything, tell us. At first, everything felt normal. We walked along marked trails, took photos near wooden signs, complained about the uphill paths. After almost 2 hours of walking, I really needed to go to the bathroom. I didn't want to make it a big deal, so I told my friend quietly, I'll be back in a minute. I stepped off the trail and walked behind a cluster of trees. Not far, just far enough to have privacy. When I finished and turned around to head back, a branch snapped somewhere behind me. The sound was sharp, too close. I froze. It's nothing, I told myself. Forests are full of movement, animals, wind, falling twigs. Then I heard it again. A step. Slow. Heavy. I turned around quickly. Nothing. The trees stood still. The air was quiet. I felt embarrassed for getting scared. So I started walking back toward the trail. That's when I heard it again. Step. And another. This time. Closer. I sped up slightly. The steps behind me sped up too. Not random, not scattered. Matching my pace. My stomach dropped. These weren't animal sounds. They were too steady, too deliberate, human. I turned around sharply and saw a man standing between the trees. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't pretending to look at something else. He was just standing there, watching me. His face was completely blank. No smile. No anger, no surprise at being caught, just eyes fixed on me, unblinking. I slowly stepped backward toward the trail. He started walking forward, slow, calm, controlled, never breaking eye contact. I turned and ran. My backpack bounced against my shoulders. Branches scratched my arms. When I finally burst back onto the trail, my classmates were laughing about something. It felt unreal. I turned around one last time. He was gone. That night, the news reported that police were searching that same forest for a man who had attempted to kidnap a child days earlier. On another school trip, we stayed overnight in a small, cheap hotel in another city. I shared room 214 with 2 friends. The hallway smelled old. The lights flickered slightly. The carpet muffled footsteps. Around 2 a.m., we woke up to a knock. 3 slow, heavy knocks. Not loud, but deliberate. We assumed it was a teacher checking rooms. I walked to the door. Who's there? Silence. I leaned toward the peephole. A man was standing right outside, so close that I could only see part of his face. one eye, part of his cheek. He wasn't blinking. He wasn't moving. Just standing there. I stepped back slowly and whispered to my friends that something was wrong. Then the door handle slowly moved downward, very slowly. Someone was trying to open it. We rushed forward and shoved a chair under the handle. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. Another knock, then silence. Then a scraping sound, like metal dragging lightly against the door. Slow, careful, testing. In the morning, we told the teacher everything. The hotel staff checked the security cameras. And on the footage, there was no one outside our door at 2 a.m. No shadow, no movement, nothing. On the way back from another trip, our bus stopped at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. Fields stretched into darkness. The sky was completely black. One tall lamppost buzzed softly above the parking area. I stepped off the bus to stretch my legs. That's when I noticed him. A man standing directly under the light, completely still. His face was partly hidden in shadow. I looked away at first, but when I started walking back toward the bus, I heard footsteps behind me. I didn't turn around immediately. I just walked faster. The footsteps sped up too. Closer, closer. Suddenly, the bus driver started honking loudly. I turned around. The man was right behind me. Close enough that I could. Slow, heavy. I ran and jumped inside the bus. The doors shut instantly. The man walked up to the door and just stood there, looking at all of us. Not knocking, not speaking, just staring. The next day, we learned that police were searching that highway for a man who had been pretending to be a stranded passerby and attacking children when they were alone. If you liked this video, make sure you're not watching it alone. And remember, sometimes the scariest things don't happen in the dark. They happen in plain sight. When you think you're safe. When you think nothing can happen. Because your friends are only a few steps away.